And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the world. It's John D. and Kanika, a.k.a. And Too Much Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. Why are you fantastic?
You know, I am fantastic because every day I get to wake up next to you and I can go downstairs and like literally work on how I can become a better human being. Feed these dogs, get ready to walk them, and spend more time with you. And we can talk about how our day is going to go and, you know, what we're going to do with the kids to like give them more than what teenagers are getting these days. Like, it's fantastic. Like I enjoy your company. And, you know, like I'm looking for ways to enjoy it more because at some point, this is something I'm tell you guys. At some point, whatever I'm doing or going through, I believe she's going to get excited and be like, this place got to be real. I need to be there. And then she's going to get there and be like, why didn't you tell me this before? So my life is fantastic because I know that you're happier. You're the happiest I've seen you in a long time. Like I was like thinking about it yesterday. You said you were just being corny. Mm-hmm. You was like, are you gonna get tired of me? And I'm like, no. And I don't know what my face was saying, but I was just thinking just now, like, she's happy because you can't be sad and be corny. You know what I'm saying? You just walking around the Home Depot like her shoulders going back and forth with her fingers. It's like, I love you. I'm like, she's so crazy. It's like she's happy. So I'm doing fantastic. And like this is every day. Like I enjoy the entire day. Like, because I know that I'm doing something that is going to eventually develop into something else that we haven't seen. So that's the reason why fantastic is the way that it is. I've gotten to that point in my life. Okay. And, you know, I don't complain about too many things. I'll tell you that. That's been a different joy. When I see something that you could complain about and then I find a way with what I was supposed to get from it, I feel like that's my mindset change. Like when anything bad happens, I'm like, what was I supposed to get from that? Because I know I did not deserve that. For real. Yeah, so why throw out anything negative? Because, you know, sometimes you can just get on a trail of negative thoughts and just take you away from wherever your peace was. Mm-hmm. So to know that I'm there, I feel like it's dope. Yeah. So have you ever heard of breadcrumbing?
No.
Yeah, so it's this thing where I guess it's people leading people on. Mm. Like, you know, like it's kind of almost like our last
I see the connection
episode. Like, you know, somebody does this and then somebody's reading more into it.
Yeah.
But apparently it's somebody purposely leading somebody on. And I don't believe that really happens. Mm. I don't know. Guys don't say, you know what? I'm going to go take her out to eat and make her think we're going to do something and I'm not going to call her again.
But that goes, it doesn't that's not ghosting. So, okay. Well, you don't think anybody does it?
No. Why would you waste your time? It doesn't, to me, I feel like all of our time.
Okay. So say this, say that you're enjoying somebody's company and you know that they want to have a relationship. And so then you make it seem like that's what you're going toward, but it's not.
So this is what
breadcrumbing, isn't it?
Well,
because you're leading them to think that this is going to develop into something. It's going to develop into marriage, and you know that you're not going to marry this person.
Well, it depends on how the other person feels. Like if the person feels like, hey, I can turn this person
No, what I'm saying is, you know, if you heard, there'll be a guy like he's dating multiple people, but there's somebody that he ends up just all of a sudden he just lets go of everybody, and then they find out he got married or he got engaged out of nowhere. So all of them think that they have this possibility.
Yeah, I think that's just the movies to me, because I feel like everybody I know got married. There's only one person that I have in my connection that just popped up and got married to somebody I never met. That's only happened like one time. Like everybody, like I know who they are. There's like, did they disappear? Like if they disappeared, then the person just doesn't come out of nowhere very often.
Okay.
Like it's a great movie line, like oh my God, I was dating him and I know somebody else he was dating. He just disappeared and got married or something. Like, nah, that didn't really happen. Like unless it's like some phenomenal story, like you got turned out that quick.
You know, I'm trying to think to myself, anybody like I any type of woman that was like dating a guy, maybe dating him. You know, when you have a sugar daddy, well, no, sugar daddies already understand. So I guess dating a guy, knowing that he wants more from you, but you don't want that from him. I don't know anybody who's done that, but so where did this come from?
Well, I was just thinking, it was, trending topics, and I wanted to see, do you think that people lead people on? I just feel like young people don't realize that men don't get in relationships to fail, but they will be forced in a relationship, and they won't put the effort that they probably should put into it because they can't communicate. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. There are men that do that. Like, well, I don't know men. I say young guys, but like you'll be like, I remember in my sophomore year, it was this girl. I just look. I'm telling you, I cared. I didn't, but we
He said, "I cared. I didn't."
Yeah, we had sex, right? And she said, so we talking on the telephone, and she was like, "I think we should be in a relationship." I was like, "Yeah, okay." As simple as that. And so
then to her, was that we're in a relationship?
Yeah, we was in a relationship.
Oh, you agreed. For real. You wasn't like
you
were rushing out. Okay.
So it was so crazy. I ended up breaking up with her because I was like, hey, this ain't even like going the way.
Is this high school or college?
It's high school for sure. I was like, this isn't going the way that I thought. And I didn't say that. Whatever it was, we agreed. But it was right before Christmas break, right? And everybody was like, that's cold. So I bought her a pair of shoes so people didn't think that I was breaking up with her.
So you wouldn't have to buy a gift.
Yeah. So I bought her some cold shoes too. So I was just, in my mind, that wasn't going to ever happen again. Nobody was going to have sex with me and force me in a relationship.
Like, well, I guess this means we're together.
Like I was just so new to this. I was just like, that was like probably the third person too. In my head, like nobody said that before.
And my other two experiences.
No, I was a junior. Okay, yeah, I was a junior. I was like, I guess I sounded a little seasoned. But yeah, sophomore, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was definitely a junior. But yeah, I was driving. So, but yeah, okay, so I'm just thinking like this. I do know that guys will keep a relationship going if the sex is good. Mm-hmm. But that's still stupid.
But isn't that breadcrumbing then? You keep it going because you want the sex, but you don't intend for anything else to come of it.
No, I think that's a lack of communication. Like if the guy didn't say, hey, I'm really just into your sex. If you need me for that. But the guy doesn't say that. The guy says, okay, let's go out to eat. Like they go out to eat because he knows he's going to have sex afterward.
Yeah.
But he's not but the girl, I think most girls, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but most girls feel like they can turn whoever they like.
Absolutely.
So this is from a lack of experience or the lack of it's clouded by ignorance.
I'm not saying that all girls go in with that intention, but all girls who really like somebody and they don't necessarily reciprocate, they do feel like with more time they could turn them. Yeah.
Yeah. So in my head, so just looking back, if you guys checked out our last episode, we were talking about how I treated women because I cared for them. And that's what I thought that all women were supposed to get from me. And so I didn't know that men were not giving these things to women. So I was treating every woman that I had a situationship with like we were in a relationship. But I didn't know that these were the parts that you see in a relationship. So,
and that might have been even more of a draw because girls will be in relationships with other dudes and they give them scraps, and then they in a situationship with you and be like, "This dude, this is wonderful." You're like, "Oh, I didn't know."
It's so crazy. So I was really, I was a really great guy. Like I still am a great guy, but then I was a great guy, but I was clouded by the idea of what men should do at that point. And, you know, my father said I'm supposed to have the best years of my life in college. So I thought you were supposed to have situationships. And I thought that all the women were supposed to have their situationships. I never told women that they were with me. I thought, hey, this is supposed to be the best years of your life. Why are you trying to be tied down to me? So that's the reason why I was serious too. And like looking back, like they had no idea how serious I was. Like I wanted them to have fun in college. And I realized that they thought it was a game. I was really just treating them like I was treating everybody. I was treating all women the same.
This is the regular way. Yeah, this isn't special. Even if you think it's special, it's not special.
And that's so crazy. Like, so my father didn't teach me that, you know. Maybe he did teach me that because I just thought that's the way you're supposed to treat women. You're supposed to just like always be concerned and try to help them when you can. And like, I felt like if you're going to waste your time with somebody, it might as well be productive. You know, like
enjoyable.
Yeah. So I don't know. In my head, I thought that these women were doing their thing. I did run into a few women that lived that life also, but they may have had a boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Never mind that then.
Well, the whole point of it is that I didn't lead people on with the intent of thinking that I wanted them to turn me. I was treating them with respect. Like that's what I thought respect was. Like you're supposed to just be genuinely concerned about their well-being. And listening to the idea of people leading people on, like, you know, that's messed up. Because I don't think anybody should like think that somebody's doing that on purpose. So do you felt before we got married, did you think I was leading you on at any point?
No. Because you said it early on and you said it multiple times along the way that you weren't interested in a relationship. Even though your stuff was suspect. He got me a tennis bracelet, y'all. When I went to grad school, he bought me an entire computer. Won't you think that somebody wants to be with you? Like, I'm almost there. This dude said he loved me. He bought me a computer. Why was I walking around with a tennis bracelet? Nobody even understands and knows from the dude that I'm having sex with, but we're not in a relationship. That's so weird.
It is weird.
So then, so just to let you all know, I was one of the girls who thought that I could turn this person who
But I didn't buy these things for other people.
Specifically that, I know. And then that was even worse because it was like, he don't be doing this like on a regular schmegler. So I'm really turning this dude. I'm almost there. But I wasn't.
You were. as crazy as it sounds, you were like, so that's what I can say. Like, you know, like you were definitely somebody I was like, if she gets pregnant, that this could work.
This would be the one then.
Look, I'm telling you, like man, I was such a child when it came to, oh my gosh. And you know, I don't know, I guess I just had a clouded view of life, and the Lord was like, keep protecting him until he wakes up. Because Lord knows, he does know that I'm so thankful for you. So if I led you on, it was on purpose then.
Oh my God.
Because we here.
Oh my God. That's horrible.
It is. But I don't think the idea of leading anyone on is cool. I think that if anybody felt led on, it was a lack of understanding of the intent from the person, because nobody wants to hurt somebody. Nobody wants to walk away from a relationship with somebody saying they hate them.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a horrible way to go into a relationship. I hope she hate me after this. You're like, you know, if this don't work, this person's a really good person. You know, they taught me a lot, or I learned, or I didn't learn anything. Maybe somebody else can give them something that I couldn't, but this person can't give me what I need. It could be a peaceful, you know, departure. But most of the time, some of these feelings that we don't like the way we feel, and we feel like this is the ultimate. Like, you don't have to feel like that if you don't want. But you got to know that you deserve more. And sometimes we feel like people are going to grow faster than they're capable of. You can only really grow with the intent of a person. What's their intent? I ain't gonna lie, like the idea of anyone that's younger than us talking about retirement, they've lost it. They've lost their mind. Like they should be thinking about some type of mastery to retire earlier. Like, now I'm talking about retiring like 65. Like, if we haven't realized that's the most horrible way to go out, and I'm going to say this because I believe maybe 80 something %, and this might be the ridiculous number, but
Y'all just be throwing
I
out
do.
numbers.
But I think it's like 80%.
He said I do.
But I know it's very high
Okay.
that people are not happy in the jobs that they're working.
Okay.
Like, when I think about people that are happy in their jobs, I just don't think majority of the people are happy when they go to work. So it's a small percentage of people that enjoy what they do for a living. So that's what I'm saying. So those people, like, I don't want majority of the world to continue following them. That's not a happy way to go out.
Yeah.
You need to either find the job that you want to do for the rest of your life, and I know that's difficult, or you need to master something that you're so good in that you don't have to retire at 65. Because the idea that, like, I love education, but I couldn't see myself anymore waiting to 65 to like stop doing what I've been doing all. Like, it would just drive me crazy.
I have at my job, one of the program directors, like, she turned, I think, 70 last year. And she has some, you know, and their chronic illnesses, like, people are literally dying in their positions. I don't want to live that life either. I think that,
Unless you really enjoy it.
I mean, yeah. But even if I really enjoyed what I did, I think I don't want to be in a position where I have to be there even if I'm sick. If my body is breaking down, I want to be able to say, okay, well, I'm done with that. Even if I love it. And I hate watching it. I hate seeing it, because no matter how much you love your job or you do it well, like, that's not the idea that you would work for decades And then in the years when you are sick and your quality of life is depleting, then it's like, okay, now I'm going to retire. And I don't even have the energy or the body to be able to enjoy the time off and really live. Like, you don't really get to live if you're going to retire in your 60s.
I know.
Like,
and I mean, at least the usage of your body is depleted so much by that time. And for you to, like, let's say if you did, like, say you had all the money in the world. At 65, you can't move like you can at 45.
Yeah. No, it's not.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm hoping that these young people find a way to, like, enjoy life a lot more, because all we did was, like, my mother is still working, and it disturbs me that I'm not in a position to be able to, like, say, hey, you don't have to work anymore yet, you know, and she had a stroke, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're living this life, why are we waiting to 65? Like, you should be living it in your youth, you know? So the idea of leading people on, I feel like it's kind of unfair, and it creates misunderstandings. So yeah, these young people, I think that as we become better communicators, I think we will be able to say what we want and what we're willing to do. Because I was just thinking about the things that I was able to get away with as a young man. Like, people trusted me a lot, and I had the best intentions. But I think that sometimes we can be persuaded by our peer group and cause us to make, like, poor decisions. And if we as young men learn how to make better decisions, we won't compromise women so early. But we don't know anything. You know what? Maybe it's not that. It's older men dating younger women. Because women get this expectation of how men are going to develop, and they don't have time for somebody who's younger, right? So a lot of times it's rare that you'll see men date anybody their age after, I don't know, 12.
You are so ignorant.
No, I'm serious. Typically, they're a lot younger. They get younger, you know what I'm saying? And, like, if it gets too far, that conversation's got to be a tough one for many. Like, because what are y'all talking about? Y'all, like, there's an age period of time that you guys like, and neither one of you are familiar with. You know, so if you do that, I think that we should look more into, if we're going to ultimately be in a relationship, are we going to, like, have the same things to talk about? Because you and we can talk about the 90s.
Yeah.
For every decade that comes up, you and I will always be able to talk about the 90s.
Yeah.
Or we could just talk about hip hop between 94 and 97. You know, because we have this thing. But if you grow out of that period, we're looking at it differently. So we may not have the same conversation where we could just, like, put on some music and just be like, shit, this is like, no matter what. But if that age gap is too far, and I'm into Biggie and you're into B2K, you know, like, it's gonna be like, where are we?
Oh, B2K, yeah, they couldn't have been 20 years ago, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of where they were in the timeline.
Yeah, there was Y2BK when they, like, 2,000 people. But I'm just saying, like, if it's too far, nobody even thinks about that as far as weeding people out also.
No, yeah. It reminds me of when we were watching that one show where people just got married to whoever, and they had matched that guy up who was, like, obsessed with the 80s. And she was born in the 90s.
Oh, yes.
She was like, what are you even? Wait, no. Was she born in the 90s?
No, she wasn't born in the 90s. She was born in like.
No, she was like, he was 40.
Yeah, it was a 10 years.
30. Yeah, it was a 10-year gap. But he was like, Goonies and members only jackets and neon, and she was
just
like,
too young to appreciate any of it.
Yeah. So I get it. I would hate to be in a relationship with somebody who didn't like my favorite time of my life, and you can't vibe with it.
But what's crazy is like you don't think about that because they're just trying to get the bare minimal out. Let's just get in a relationship and figure this stuff out later.
Yeah.
But we don't have the weeding out process. I think that you can be an anomaly and marry somebody 30 years older than you and it works out for 12 years of their life.
Oh my God.
But I'm just saying, like, is that the life that you envision? You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times women are compromised by older men because we can't communicate effectively with women our age.
I think this is interesting because I know of someone who married someone I think was 20 years older than her. And it was very much so she was like made into the child. Like she had an allowance and very controlled. He molded her, things of that nature. But what was interesting is that they didn't have the same decade connection. She just kind of learned the things he liked and she did those things. But her interest, I don't think she was ever able to explore it and learn herself because she was stuck in wherever he was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so years and years later, she developed Alzheimer's. And it was like early onset and it was moving very quickly. And her friend would come and visit her. And when she would see this friend from high school, she would immediately go back into high school and think that they were like 16. And her friend said they would walk through the house, and whenever she would see her husband, she just thought he was just this weird old man. Why is he in the house? And it's funny because when she saw her friend, she saw someone young. But when she saw him, there was no recollection of who he was, obviously, because at 16, she didn't know him. But he was just this old man, and she was just like, ugh. And all of her life had been focused on living in his time and being all about him. And I was like, wow, she never really got to develop herself. So when she went back to her young self when she was like free and wild and independent thinking and everything. And it's interesting. I wonder who she would have been had she not married someone older, how she would have developed, how her life would have looked if she had the opportunity to kind of be molded by her experiences rather than by her partner. And I think when you have, depending on the age in which you have this relationship with an older person, if you're not really fully into your adulthood where you've established who you are, that can be very, very difficult to live that life. I couldn't imagine, like in the TV show, the girl was like 28. Your hardwiring of your brain is just done at 26. So she wasn't even fully, but she knew enough about herself where she was like, I'm not going to get caught up in what this man liked to do. But in the instance of the family friend, like she didn't even get to develop who she was. I just don't see the value in having such a big gap in relationships because you just can't.
I don't think that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times women are compromised. Mm. They get razzle dazzled by money, and it's coming from somebody who's older. And older guys says things that younger guys aren't exposed to yet. So women rather have now than potential, unless you have a young lady who has love at home who understands what it could possibly look like. This is what's going on. But overall, a lot of women, like I said, are compromised from older men. And when I say older, I'm meaning more advanced, more
they're in that next stage of life. Not
correct. Correct.
I wonder how that differs when the woman is older and the man is younger.
Well, I mean, it's apparent that a woman who's in that situation can't be in relationships with people her age. Like, there's something that happened in their childhood where they would rather be in control than let somebody, manipulate them. So I think it's just it's a way to not feel however they felt.
So then how would the guy experience the relationship? Like we were talking about how a woman may be compromised and as the younger one and be molded or be made to be in a certain. So how would that work for the young man then?
Same thing.
You think so?
Yeah, like I think the reason why I was successful sexually because I dealt with women who were older, maybe like 1 or 2 years old, but they were having sex, so they had a lot more experience. So I kind of knew what I always thought that all women knew, but I realized that it definitely comes through experiences that they have. Like when I was like, wow, you can assume women know something, and then you get there, you be like, oh, this was all fake. Like, because men, we come up with these ideas in our head from what we see and what we see on television. You like, oh, she looks like this, so she probably can do that. And then you be like, oh, so she just looked like what the TV looked like. And then you automatically assume that they're supposed to do this. And it was like, they just knew it as you are. You know what I'm saying? But when you deal with older women that's already been compromised, they show you the moves. So just thinking about how younger men, like with me, I just felt like I didn't know that's what was happening. But to me, I was like, I was only going to be with who I wanted to be with. Like I remember messing with somebody who was a little older and she had her own stuff. And I was just like, this is dope. But it wasn't like one of those things that I wanted to say, like I got a lady that got all of this. It was just like dope to be in the situation. Like, oh, this is okay. But it wasn't nothing that made me feel like, oh, this is where I want to be. To me, I feel like at some point in your life, you said, I want the best relationship ever. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I do want that. I want to be happy in my old age. I want my kids. Like, everybody has that. But how to get there is so difficult because we would rather be right than ask for help. And that's why I feel like where we are, like, I didn't know I could get here. Like, the way that I view life now, I feel like everybody should understand this, because the way that I viewed life before, it was just monotony in my head. Like, I was just making sure I was going to keep my kids safe. I was going to provide. We're going to go to places, and like I was going to have my life like with my friends, and I was going to do but it wasn't nothing like I see it now. And I'm like, when I was younger, this is what I was looking for. Like, I was like, I want whatever this could look like. And to know that where we are, it's like everybody wants to be here. I think about the only times we get into it really is because of the way I said something to you. And it wasn't even on purpose. But I'm like, but it's not on purpose, but it still bothers you. And I'm like, I got to fix it so she don't ever feel like that. Like, I remember not caring how I sounded because that's who I was. I was like, this is who I am. You married me. Like, what do you expect me to change?
I was like, yeah.
I know. And, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how narrow-minded I was. Like, this is who I am. And now I'm like, if people knew how I feel, like on the inside, when when I know that I removed a bad habit, like I'm like, oh, I'm getting cold. Like that feeling right there, like nobody knows I feel that way. Nobody sees it, but it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting there. So then when I'm like, at some point, you know, like the way that I like ask you all these questions and get to know you, I'm going to know your whole program better than you, because that's my intent, because I want you to like constantly be in the program and smiling, like, what you smiling for? Why not? You know, like I want you to be like, you know what, this is bliss. You know, let's go find some problems and let's fix them. You know, like one of those type things. You're like, you know what, I think we figured out how to do this. Because this you know, the programming aspect, it's like we are there. You know, at least I am. And I enjoy this place. So the idea of breadcrumbing to me is nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to get here. They just don't know how to do it. You know. But any last words before we get out of here?
No, I don't think so.
Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Not today.
No doubt. Well, good. I want to give a shout out to the Lua Squad, because, you know, we put up some landscaping walls and some what are the things called that we put, planters, with brick planters that looks really good. Like our home is looking like professional masonry was performed on our property, and we did it. So I want to give us a shout out. The kids participated. So we're enjoying building our home up with our own labor, and shout out to us.
Shout out to us.
But y'all make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.